Hi everybody, Matt back with you, hope you're okay. We're in October and we've actually got a fairly reasonable day today after a lot of rain, so I'm heading out for a hike. And where I'm going today is nothing new, we've been there before, but a couple of years ago. It's just a retread of an old video. And I'm heading up over the hill here of Langfield Common. And en route there's a couple of interesting ancient stones. But specifically, I've come to look at the ruins of an old farm. That farm goes by the name of Red Dykes Farm. It's been abandoned since the 1950s. There's a couple of tales about it as well. It's a place where people go and think, I'm being whispered to. Let's see what we can find. So, although it is a fine day, it's likely to be very, very windy when I reach the top. And I have to get there by going all the way up this path. And somewhere you might just be able to make out a standing stone, maybe there. That's kind of halfway. So, Red Dykes Farm is a ruin, and it is one of two buildings left that once made up the hamlet of Withens Clough. It may have been called something different back then. Somebody will probably tell me it was. However, it was a hamlet of 15, 16 houses, and it was just a local farming community, and often they would have to come up and over the hill here and down into Todmorden this way. At some point the water board decided that it needed a reservoir in that area. What stands there today is Withens Clough Reservoir, in the place of where some of those houses were. The other houses that were nearer to the water were demolished. There are apparently one or two cellars still lurking on the hillsides covered over. And there's now one building left that is lived in, and Red Dykes Farm, which is a ruin. Like I say, it's been a ruin since the 1950s. I think it was last lived in by a gamekeeper. It is there's nothing much inside it, but it is a really impressive Dickensian style ruin. And if you haven't watched the previous video, don't watch that one, just stick to this and you'll see what I mean when we eventually get there. There's lots of magpies ahead of me. I can't remember the song about magpies. 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for a girl, 4 for a boy. But what comes after 4? What's after 4? No, say 5. I know 5. What is it in the poem? Because there's about 6 magpies up here. I want to know if that's a good thing. This walk always takes my breath away, but also does it in different ways. What a fabulous view from up here. And of course from here, if you wanted to, you can go on to Gadding's Dam, or of course that way, just Studley Pike. But we're going to head, when we get to the top of here, straight ahead, as if we were going to Cragg Vale, because that's where Withens Clough is. The first stone to show you is this one here. So this is called the Long Stoop. So as predicted, as we've reached the top of the hill, essentially, it's windy, but this is the Long Stoop. I'm guessing got its name by its slanting position. I could be wrong, maybe it wasn't always like that, but it is essentially a waymarker stone. It is in fact pretty much in the middle of what is now that crossroads I told you about. That way to Studley Pike, that way to Gaddings, down to Todmorden, this way to Cragg Vale. And the path that goes between Gaddings and Studley Pike is called the Long Causeway, one of a number of long causeways in this area. There is even one just on the opposite hillside. Okay, let's crack on. As we follow the path, again, sorry it's windy, over to the left you can see the remains of a working quarry. In that quarry it is still possible to find like the foundations of buildings. Not sure if the stone from there might have built the farms that would have been in Withens Clough, or whether it's a bit more recent. Maybe they went towards building Studley Pike, I'm not sure. We head through this gate post and we find our next stone in a moment. It's interesting, on the gate itself there are some initials. S you can make out, and at this side, a bit faded, but L. Not quite sure what that means. Boundaries again, perhaps L. Langfield one side, don't know. If you do know, put a comment below. Right, so we leave Todmorden behind. We head this way. As you come through the gate you get your first look at the ruin, just down in the bottom there, but this is another stone to show you. So this is called I'll get it wrong, it's Latin, I'm not a Latin scholar, but something like the Ter Deum Laudamus stone. And that's what initials are on the side there, and on this side you've got a very obvious cross. And obviously it's for religious purposes, but the reason it's here is once again to do with the little hamlet of houses and farms at Withens Clough, because the nearest church to them was Lumbut's Chapel, which is pretty much where we started our walk today. And basically if somebody passed away, they would have to carry the body from Withens Clough up over the hill and down the hill where we've walked today to the chapel. The purpose of the stone is to put the coffin on top of the stone so that they can have a rest and say some prayers before they carry on their way. So it's quite an ancient, not ancient, but a very old stone of historical importance. Yeah, I don't know if there's a record of how many people from Withens Clough came up, rested here and went down the other side, but yeah, it's good it's here. So in the distance there is Withens Clough Reservoir, quite low water at the moment. The surviving farm is there. As we pan across, up at the top there are the two lads' cairns. You can find out about what that is on this video. And then just over to the right on the hill are the giant holder stones, and then Red Dykes Farm at the bottom. Okay, so the farm's just at the bottom of this field. If we get a chance, we'll pop down to the reservoir as well. But it is very, very muddy. We've had 2 days of extensive rain. Seems to be a lot of stories about this place. Nobody can quite figure out which ones are real, and I don't necessarily have the right answers either. Again, it's been abandoned for, you know, it's heading towards 80 years, and it's been a ruin for a very long time. There's been suggestions that children died here, but I don't think that's quite right. What is right is that it was being lived in by a homeless person. They made it their home, and they passed away inside the building, so they were found in there. I'm not quite sure how long ago. Yeah, it is a haunting place. Let me show it to you. From here, see how far away it was from the reservoir. Okay, it is very, very windy, as you can possibly tell. I'm just in the corner at the moment, sheltering away. So yeah, we're now inside the ruins of Red Dykes Farm. This is just one of the rooms. I don't know if it was one big farm or if it was like a farm and another house or anything like that. Obviously there's no roof on any of it. But it's quite a tall ruin. But yeah, I don't have much in terms of history for here. It's just literally the building itself is impressive. Okay, next room. Let's go in through here. So obviously in here there's more to see, although again it is in ruins. But, you know, get a little shelves there that still exist, and on the ground somewhere, yeah, the old beams that should have been part of the roof, and more at the other side above the rubble. There's even some steps. I'll show you those in a minute. What I often wonder for here is, does a cellar still exist? I wonder if there is one hidden away under the rubble. Imagine so. Funny enough, I'm just going to go and investigate what that is. Is somebody sleeping here? mean. The question you might be asking is, why wasn't Red Dykes Farm knocked down when the others were? Now, it doesn't necessarily mean all the houses that were knocked down were where the reservoir is now. Unfortunately, these were farms, and you know, they relied on livestock to keep them going, including cows, for example. And because of the proximity to the water, there was only you had to be so far away with the animals. So the farms that were nearer suddenly found they weren't even allowed to have any livestock because the cows could get near and pollute the water. And they eventually disappeared over time. And like I say, somewhere on this hillside there are apparently some cellars remaining. I'm not too sure where. So this one just stayed here, but still couldn't run as a farm because it was still, the fields it had was too close to the water. So eventually the farming community left this area. That's how this turned into a ruin. Let's just step back inside, show you these stairs that exist. So those are the stairs there. So they would have obviously got to a level here somewhere, maybe. You can see where the beams would have gone across in those holes. Another surviving doorway. To show you what it looks like out the back. Again, more beams, stones, also a trough, old stone trough. Or was it the bath? I don't know if you can see this bit. There's a, I wonder if this was a roof stuck onto there. This was a bit of an outhouse bit. I'm not sure. I don't think any old photos exist of this place either. But again, I'm happy to be proven wrong. Okay, so that is our look at the ruin of Red Dykes Farm. I've been up here in many different weathers. I've been up here in thick fog, in snow drifts, in driving rain. Not sure I've ever caught it with a bit of sunshine before. It does change its feeling. The other times I've come, it's had a really eerie feeling to it, but not today. Yeah. It's a good one if you get a chance to have a walk either up over the hill from Todmorden or whilst you're heading round Withens Clough Reservoir. Okay, so we leave you from the ruin of Red Dykes Farm we've enjoyed our little look through this one, and we are in October. Spooky season is here. That's why the outfits are back out, and we have lots of horror related goodies for you coming up. A haunted bus in Manchester, a zombie run over the hills of Bury, and a look and a drive on one of the UK's most haunted roadways. And that's our next spooky tale this weekend with Danielle. Alright, catch you soon guys, have a good one, bye for now.